Hello, it's Reija and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be doing a recommendations video on new releases in preparation for the new Releaseathon. So without further ado, let's get started. So if you have been following me for a longer time, you may know that my approach to recommendations is to recommend only books that I have completed and finished myself. So to that end, I actually only have around 4 recommendations for this video for new releases. Starting with Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi. Bitter is a prequel novel to Akwaeke Emezi's young adult / middle grade kind of a book for younger audiences called Pet. It is definitely a more kind of harsher world. It is definitely a more harsher story, dealing with things like police brutality and rioting and a protest and sort of like this group of underdogs and group of underdog revolutionaries trying to take on a systematic and systemic oppressive force. And it has sort of like a magical, otherworldly, almost like an alternative reality bent to it. Like it is a very like contemporary world with a magical, fantastical twist. It definitely reads a lot older than Pet, so where I would say that Pet was like a middle grade, Bitter definitely reads more like a young adult, even verging on adult themes. And in terms of prompts that Bitter would cover for a new Releaseathon, it covers the prompts of title without articles, it tackles the prompt BIPOC author, and it has LGBTQ plus rep, and it is from a non-US author. The next book I want to recommend would be Fevered Star. Now, this is with a caveat, since Fevered Star is in fact a sequel. So you have had to have read Black Sun in order to enjoy Fevered Star. However, if you have read Black Sun, then definitely consider picking up Fevered Star because it continues on the story in a fantastic way, and it is definitely a lot more brutal. There's a lot more like body horror and gore elements than in the first book, and sometimes it can also feel like it has kind of like an aimless bent to it because a lot of the time characters are like traveling, and there's a lot of setup for the third book, but I still think that there is a lot to gain out of this. And Fevered Star would cover the following prompts on the bingo board. So it is a title without articles, it is by a BIPOC author, it is a sequel, and it also has LGBTQ plus rep. And then I would want to recommend a magazine because one of the prompts is to read a magazine, and there is also like a prompt to read short stories. So in this case, I would want to recommend Uncanny Magazine, specifically issue 45, which I have been reading and just recently finished. So this would cover the short story prompt, title without articles, because Uncanny Magazine doesn't have articles in the title. It is an entire magazine. A lot of the authors featured in Uncanny Magazine are BIPOC authors. There is a high chance that you will encounter new to you authors when you pick up a magazine, and there's also LGBTQ plus rep in it. And I definitely have been really enjoying a lot of picking up a lot of different magazines. So in case Uncanny Magazine isn't your jam, you might want to, for example, try out Choreo Magazine, which also deals with a lot of like authors writing from migrant experiences and from diaspora, and also features a lot of BIPOC voices. And finally, I would want to recommend The Way Spring Arrives and Other Stories. This is an anthology of translated fantasy and science fiction from China, and I just recently finished it and really liked it. So if you are interested in picking up stories by women and non-binary authors, this definitely works for that as well. And it is very much different from a lot of the Chinese science fiction that we have gotten translated recently from like male authors. This has a very different vibe. And this covers the prompts for short story and also the hard mode for reading an anthology if you would so choose. It is translated, and it is also translated by a team of women and non-binary translators as well. It features BIPOC authors. It is a genre bender because a lot of the short stories in this collection are actually like dealing with both science fiction and magical like elements. There is a lot of LGBTQ plus rep, and it is from non-US authors. And because it's from China, it is also from the Global South. And there you have it. Those are my recommendations for the new Releaseathon, new releases that I have read in 2022 and would like to recommend. I have read a few more, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend them to people, so here are my choices. And let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, if you would like to read any of these, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye bye!